Good morning, YouTube. This is another episode of Chopping It Up with Zenith Intellect. And the title of today's podcast is going to be The Art of Communication is Dying. So before we get into it, what's the definition of communication? Communication, the imparting or exchanging of information or news. So communication, the imparting or exchanging of information or news. So you got 4 types of communication, but I'm just going to go into 2. The first one is verbal. Verbal communication is the use of language through speaking or sign language. And nonverbal, the use of body language, gestures, and facial expressions to convey information to others. So the reason I chose verbal and nonverbal communication, because I felt that they was best suited for the topic that I'm discussing. So with verbal communication, we definitely don't have too much of that going on due to everyone, pretty much having their eyes glued to their phones, and you can't even walk down. You can even walk out your door right now and take a stroll down the street or whatever, and you don't even have to necessarily walk. You could get in your car and you can see that there's people that it seems like they got their eyes, instead of having their eyes on the road while they're driving, they got their eyes glued to their cell phone. Especially living down south, it's not out of the way for people to just say hello or hi or howdy, or they speak to you or give you a greeting even though they don't know you. But nowadays people got their eyes glued on the phone, and you don't even get a greeting anymore, or you can even like per se go to, like for instance, I had to go to a doctor's appointment recently, and it's like everybody in that doctor office, aside from the employees, it's like, everybody had their eyes glued to the cell phone, except one gentleman. And it's like one gentleman and me and this other gentleman, we ended up having like a very enlightening and information and interesting conversation. And I was just telling him how shocked I was that I was actually having a conversation in the doctor's office in this day and time, with one of the aside from having a conversation with the doctor or the people that checking me in, but having a conversation with some of the other people that was there to see the doctor. But I was just like perplexed, like, wow, we actually had pretty much a good 15 to 20 minute conversation. Because when you go to the doctor's office, they tell you to pretty much come there 30 minutes prior, but they probably won't see you till within the next hour. So if your appointment's at 9:30, it's like, check in at 9 o'clock and I see you at 10. So, but anyways, with that being said, it's like, so me and this older gentleman, we had a very interesting and enlightening conversation, and humorous as well. And I'm like, wow, so this is like this is what a conversation is like. Because I'm telling you, this is like 9 times out of 10, every time I walk down the walk down the street or whatever, or I'm in my car driving, even though people supposed to be keeping their eyes on the road, it's like they got their eyes glued to the phone, looking at some type of social media. But it felt great actually having a conversation with somebody. And it's like, I think a lot of people don't do that anymore. They don't like sit down and have conversations or check in on people and maintain the relationship with people in the real world, in their real life. They put so much time and effort into the virtual, trying to communicate with friends, so-called friends that they have, most of them they never even met and they don't even know. And the crazy thing about it is they consider them friends when in essence they're really just pretty much followers and not your friends. Because most of the people that especially if you got like Twitter or Facebook or something like that, you might know some of them, because they might be family members or people you went to school with, but it's not like you got people that you really don't know. But it's like you call them, like they call friends, and you barely communicate with them or do anything when it pertains to them. So yeah, it just felt great actually having a conversation with somebody, a real flesh blood pumping human being. Yeah, so like I was saying though, that the two forms I was going to talk about was verbal, which I just gave you an example of, and then like nonverbal, because you got nonverbal cues that people, or body language that somebody can give you. With, like I said, with gestures or facial expressions, and they use that to convey information. Or so someone might have their arms folded or whatever, and you're thinking like, oh well, what's wrong with you, or what's got into you? Your arms are folded. Are you pissed off at somebody, or are you upset with somebody, or is the person you pissed off or upset with, is it me? Or someone might, or some of you women, y'all might have your hands on your hips or something, and I'm thinking like, and then the guy probably thinking like, I must have did something wrong. She got her hands on her hips, or she about to accuse me of something. So you got nonverbal cues where it's like, you don't even, the person don't even have to say anything, but that goes back to like with people keeping their eyes glued to that phone and linked up to some social media. Now, am I saying social media is wrong? I mean, am I saying that social media is totally wrong? No, social media has some uses. It has some benefits. Of course it does. But this is just the bad or the negative part of social media for people who just don't know how to unplug. So you remember back in the day when MTV used to have that series called MTV Unplugged, and it seemed like the artist, whoever the feature artist was, they pretty much sung or rap with, if they didn't do it a cappella, they had like real instruments behind them playing while they was doing it. They just made it feel like a more intimate setting, and like it, that they were just more intimate setting, and it was really making a connection with the audience. But that's what a lot of people don't do today with social media. It's like, instead of unplug with their real family members, their real friends, or their real acquaintances, and having a connection, actually a real connection with real people, they put more of their time and effort and connection into like virtual people that they don't pretty much, like I say, they don't know, or they probably wouldn't see every day. Now that's different if it's a family member, and the family member either live halfway across the United States or in another country. But if you got some friend or some so-called friend on Facebook, it's like, you don't really know this person, but you put more time and energy to try to get their attention than actually like having a real connection with somebody that you see every day. Or as I use that MTV Unplugged reference, to be unplugged and have that intimate or connection with somebody or the people in your everyday life. So, and the thing about it, you wouldn't even, and one thing it was interesting about the nonverbal communication, you wouldn't even know if somebody was having a bad day, or they was pissed off about something, or even they had a smile on their face and they was happy about something, because most people would have their eyes they would be so focused on that phone, they wouldn't know what was going on. Only thing they know is what's going on Facebook, or catching up with the latest gossip on Facebook. And most people on Facebook, it's like this. Most of them, they're just lives are stagnant in a way, because they just talk about and do the same old crap. And also too, you got people who seem to be trying to keep up with the Joneses on Facebook too. It's like they portray and live a life that they really don't live, and they portray and try to become somebody that they really aren't. If you go see them in real life, all this stuff that they take pictures of, or places that they say they traveling to or been to, it's like, when you come to find out that they pretty much went in debt just to go to most of those places, and that a lot of the stuff that they got, they pretty much in debt because it's like they really can't afford to keep up their appearance. But they have you thinking that everything's all good. You know, they driving the, you know, the 2018 or the 2019 Camaro, where they living in their parents' basement. But then, but every time you turn around, they taking a picture of it, or it's like, oh look, I got some rims for it now, and all this other mess. So you know, it's like, yeah, like people could, like, we show you nonverbal cues, and you wouldn't even notice because a lot of people got their eyes glued on social media, like I say, Facebook, even, you know, even down to YouTube. Now, I mean, and when I say YouTube, it's like, okay, it's different if they watching something that's you know, informative, or something that's going to give them some information or some knowledge. And I mean, and even on your downtime when you're trying to relax and you had a long day, and it's like, oh, you know, I just want to chill. I mean, it's okay to tune into some type of comedy or some skit shows or whatever on YouTube, or some parody videos or whatever you want to get into. And if you're a gamer, if you got time for that, I mean, you know, I used to be like a really heavy gamer, but now that I'm married and I got 3 kids, it's like I don't really have time to play video games anymore. So I mean, it's like I used to be. I would say I was a casual gamer, but now it's like it's pretty much almost non-existent. Now I just got like 2 systems, a PS3 and a Wii. That's about it. I can't get enough time the game to the point where it's worth investing in a PS4. And I know by the time I probably get a PS4, the PS5 will be done out. But nevertheless, let me stick to the topic, because I'm gonna try to keep this video as short as I can. But yeah, you can even have someone going through, even if they're going through some mental problems or mental issues, because you know mental health is a big. I think it's probably always been a big problem in that society, but now that we got social media, it's like I guess a lot of people are more. I think a lot of people are more aware of it now. But somebody could be going through could have a mental illness, and you might even be able to see some red flags or some signs. But then again, you won't be able to see those flags. You won't be able to see those red signs if your life is pretty much preoccupied with being on the cell phone or being on your tablet or whatever. It's like it's really all your time and your energy connecting with people that you really don't know, instead of connecting with the people that are supposed to be your friends, that are supposed to be your family members, or even your own seed, your own children. And it's like they could be going through problems or issues, and you can't even see the red flags or notice the non-verbal cues because you hooked up to that phone like it's a doggone matrix. You know, I was mentioning earlier, I go in the public and it seems like 9 out of 10 people is on their cell phone. I mean, they're walking and they got their eyes on their cell phone. They're drinking their coffee or eating.